This video is sponsored by TarotStack. Hey there, cozy babes, and welcome back to the coziest corner of the internet. My name is Chloe Taylor, and today we are going to be reading your cards. I'm actually not sure what this reading is going to be about, so you're going to have to know from the title of the video because I just want to get into it and see what Spirit has to say for us. So if you're unfamiliar with how pick a cards work, this is pile number 1 with the lithops, pile number 2 with the fern card, pile number 3 with the sunflower, and pile number 4 with the bleeding heart card. And each of these are going to have symbolism for your particular pile. Please know that you can choose more than one. You can choose all of them and then decide at the end which one made the most sense for you. There is no way of doing it wrong. There are just so many ways to choose. You can also check like the timestamp, see if your lucky number is present. But basically, once you have made a selection, you're going to go into the description box and click on the timestamp associated with your reading. So let's go ahead and get into it, starting from pile number 1. If you would like to make a selection and take your time, I would encourage you to pause the video right here. Before we get into your reading, please allow me a brief moment to talk about today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by TarotStack. If you're unfamiliar with TarotStack, they are an online website that deals in getting tarot decks from independent artists into your hands. So basically, if you've been looking for an indie deck or something you've never seen before, something a little bit more rare, I believe that TarotStack has something for everyone. So definitely give them a look at. The link is going to be down below for you. All of the cards that we use today are actually from TarotStack. So I will link every deck as well down below for you in the order that they appear. And I love them truly. Before I ever worked with them on my channel, they've been a long time sponsor, but even before working with them, I myself purchased decks from them, and much of my collection is from them. The thing that I will say is you will never find more unique decks anywhere else, and the cardstock and imagery are always really high quality. Like, there are decks that I have used on the daily that are not falling apart. So if you want something durable, something amazing, something rare, definitely give them a look at. So that's tarotstack.com. Again, a link for that down below is going to be in the description box. Thank you so much, TarotStack. All right, so pile number 1, the first card that comes for you is this card of lithops. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I have not encountered this before, this particular flower, but we are going to take a little look at the book because there is no way I could have memorized every single card in this deck. They are so, like, look at the descriptions for these. Like, sorry, it's a little bit blurry, but the descriptions are pretty lengthy. We're not even going to read the entire thing because a lot of it is also like about the flower. But basically, the card asks a question to you, and this is going to be like the heart of your reading, and then we're going to get into more of it. So this is how you're going to know if this was the right pile for you. Have you been hiding your emotions in plain sight? Whether you're escaping confrontation or coming to terms with reality, it's time to be upfront. It can be hard to step out of your comfort zone, especially if you don't enjoy attention, but change doesn't happen from the shadows. Be open about the problems you're facing, and if you're avoiding things within, confront them head on. Only once you've let out the pent-up emotions will you be able to make room for growth and success. Keep in mind that blending in too well with the crowd isn't always a great thing. Remind yourself of the qualities that make you unique. Be a stone by standing your ground, not by blending into the landscape. Survival doesn't always mean thriving. Improve yourself and any relationships that might be going downhill. While you shouldn't hold on to dead weight, relationships, there are always important people in your life who you may have lost touch with. Take this card as a sign to rekindle a long-lasting friendship or bridge gaps with a family member. Even if it's not the easiest thing, you'll appreciate the clarity it'll bring. So what this says to me ultimately is that there's maybe been a little bit of escapism from feeling uncomfortable feelings, especially when it comes to other people. So if you've had an argument or a fight or a losing of touch, and maybe you feel like you shouldn't reach out, or you're afraid to reach out to someone, or anything of that accord, this card is really kind of encouraging you to basically not let that be the thing that stands in your way. So let's go ahead now. We're going to look a little bit more at this situation using the, what is this one? The Dreamy Moons Tarot. We're going to go ahead and use the Dreamy Moons Tarot to see what further can be done, what the situation is. All right, we have the Knight of Stars, These cards also have like foiling on them, so they're a little bit harder to, there we go. They're a little bit harder to show off, but trust, they are gorgeous in person. Okay, Knight of Stars. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Eight of Stars. Interesting. I actually wonder, I'll tell you what I'm thinking in a second. Okay, I actually wonder, pile number one, if right now you've actually been reconsidering either a relationship or like something to do with like work or something that you have created. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, I do feel like I get a lot of entrepreneurial spirits on my channel, like people that are more invested in that, a lot more of like independent creators. I don't know why, maybe it's my energy that draws y'all to me, but I do feel like I get a lot of you here. Obviously for some of you, this is going to be interpersonal relationships, but beings that we didn't really draw any cup cards, I do feel like this has more to do with like maybe your financial or material world and your creativity. This is why I brought up entrepreneurial stuff. I do get the sense that maybe there has been a lack of financial support available to you, and it's come also at the expense of your creativity. But you're being asked at this time, number one, what lights you up? Okay, what lights you up? What's the thing that excites you the most? Because the Ace of Wands is like, this card can mean a lot of things, but I think in this particular sense, this is about like, you haven't been following the feeling. You've been kind of spiraling on everything that could go wrong instead of following the feeling that brings you pleasure and joy and excitement in life. And obviously it's really easy to do that. And unfortunately, as humans, we know we even have like measurable data. Come on now. Like when you're on social media, it is known that we will spend more time looking at things that cause us distress versus things that bring us like calm, serenity, and joy. And I think the human mind really works that way. We are programmed more towards looking for danger, right? Because that's how we've survived. It's how we've evolved. And it's sometimes hard to ask the question of, we're always asking what could go wrong. Well, what could go right? What could go right if you gave things the right attention? And I say that because the Seven of Stars is all about watering the things that you have, but also pruning off the things that don't make sense for you anymore and having the discernment to do that. The Eight of Stars also tells me that this isn't going to come without some hard work on your end. Like the Eight of Stars is about like perseverance and continuing to hone a craft. And so I do feel like if you've had this, like your emotions are a mess about something, I do feel like you've been sitting in the mess of emotions instead of taking action. Whereas if you allowed yourself to actually take tangible steps forward, things would get better. So ultimately, this also, if it was about relationships for you, I do think that you are going to have to take a tangible step. Like you could decide to go ghost, but just recognize that this pattern is going to subsist. Is that the word I'm looking for? The problem will still continue. You're just going to find that pattern in other people. Like something that I think is really valuable knowledge is that oftentimes when there is a lesson to be learned in a pattern with a person or like in relationships, if you keep finding yourself in the same pattern over and over and over again, it's not that you deserve this or that you brought this into your life to cause you pain. It's that there is a lesson that needs to be learned so that you can grow. I have to tell y'all, like, in terms of friendship, I feel like I really understand this to like the 10th degree. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I have friends in my life that I have had for a lifetime and I cherish and love those friendships. But I feel like especially in like the digital world, I have had numerous friendships across the landscape, and many of those friendships have blown up in my face. Sometimes I did not act as the best person. Sometimes they did not act as the best person. Sometimes it was both of us causing conflict at the same time. And I think throughout those relationships, I have really taken the time to learn what I actually need, what I require, and also having better boundaries about myself in moving forward with other friendships. I know what friendship green flags look like now and what friendship red flags look like now. And man, Chile, the things that I used to put up with are ridiculous compared to how I behave in relationships now. And like, it was a learning process. I wouldn't have known those things without learning. So I feel like if it's relationships for you, that's something that you need to recognize, is that you might be being put through a similar scenario, but recognize if you decide to just go ghost and walk away, sure, that's one thing to pull your energy back. It's never a bad choice, especially if you're being flooded with like really intense emotion. It can be good to pull back, but know that that pattern will just come up again and again and again. Like, you will continue to ghost people out of your life over, and like, take it from somebody who has been there. Okay. Call me Casper, the friendly ghost. Take it from somebody who has been there, where I would do that to keep myself safe. But in reality, I was just hurting everyone, including myself, you know? So it's worth it to try to put the effort in to have the hard conversation and to like work on yourself in that regard. Okay, let's go ahead and get a little bit more practical information about this. Oh. All right, we have the King of Stars, Death, the Queen of Crystals, and the Empress. Okay, to me, this message is actually quite clear. If this is relational for you, there are some people that you are just going to have to let go. There's a person that you're just going to have to let go of, and you're going to have to let yourself evolve. But the Death card to me always shows up when we need to release something. We need to let something go, something or someone go. The Queen of Crystals, I think both of these cards actually resemble you, which like sometimes when it's in relation with other people, I feel like the cards can resemble you and another person, but I actually think that all of these ones today are reflecting back at you. So the Queen of Crystals is like having the discernment to know what is right and what is wrong for you, and trusting that. So much of today's culture and society does not lean into trusting the self and trusting the body. If everybody, I will say this until I am in the grave. If everybody trusted themselves, so many parts of society would collapse in a good way. Like, I wouldn't even say it's society. It's like, I think we would literally collapse capitalism. Like, if so many people trusted themselves instead of outsourcing all of their trust, we wouldn't have the beauty industry that we have today. We wouldn't have the coaching industry that we have today. There are so many things that I think would actually go tits up, because it's capitalizing on the fact that people don't trust themselves and their own discernment and their own wise body. And to me, when I see the Queen of Crystals, this is about having the right discernment to decide what is right and what is wrong for you, and to let things go and to let people and things pass through you, but to not be the person that holds on to all of it, to let it go. Now, remember how earlier I was talking about finances? I actually think that with the Empress and the King of Stars here, because the stars in this deck are pentacles, the King of Stars and the Empress tell me that like financially, things are actually going to go very well if you let the parts of the things that you don't like go. Things are going to go better than you expected if you let go and stop holding this like death grip, basically, on the things that are not serving you, on the things that you don't actually like. But let's go ahead and see what else we have for you. What are some like things that are coming up for you? Something good, Spirit. Give us something good. Ooh, manifestation. Okay. Love to see that. And forgiveness. Set yourself free. Okay, so with manifestation and forgiveness, These tell me that number one, as soon as you allow this to happen, you're going to see your manifestations come in like that, like so much faster. What you desire is on its way. This has just been holding you back. So if you decide to let go, you're going to find that it like immediately your life circumstances improve. And forgiveness, this is not just about forgiving other people, but forgiving yourself for the version of yourself that you had to be in order to survive. And that is what I have for you, pile number one. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's reading. If you would like more from me, I do have my Patreon available to you where I put out exclusive pick-a-cards, astrology content, and personal life content like vlogs and sit-down chit-chats. Would love to have you over there. It really does support me as a small creator. I also have my podcast, The Cozy Babes Club, available to you here on YouTube as well as anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Currently, we're updating semi-weekly, I would say. I'm really proud of the content that we've been putting out lately. We've gotten into fall content. It's a good time. So I feel like if you like my tarot card readings, you probably will like my podcast. I feel like it's a very similar vibe of like talking about really important things. So definitely check that out. The link for that will be down below. And of course, you can follow me anywhere around the web. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And if you would like to get a private reading from me, go ahead and head to my website, KhloeTaylor.com, for private readings, both astrology and tarot readings. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. Before we get into your reading, please allow me a brief moment to talk about today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Tarot Stack. If you're unfamiliar with Tarot Stack, they are an online website that deals in getting tarot decks from independent artists into your hands. So basically, if you've been looking for an indie deck or something you've never seen before, something a little bit more rare, I believe that Tarot Stack has something for everyone. So definitely give them a look at. The link is going to be down below for you. All of the cards that we use today are actually from Tarot Stack, so I will link every deck as well down below for you in the order that they appear. And I love them truly. Before I ever worked with them on my channel, they've been a long time sponsor, but even before working with them, I myself purchased decks from them, and much of my collection is from them. The thing that I will say is you will never find more unique decks anywhere else, and the cardstock and imagery are always really high quality. Like, there are decks that I have used on the daily that are not falling apart. So if you want something durable, something amazing, something rare, definitely give them a look at. That's tarotstack.com. Again, a link for that down below is going to be in the description box. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack. All right, pile number one, all right, pile number two, we are going to take a look at the guidebook for this card just to kind of get the tone for your reading. And this card is really going to tell you if you chose the right pile, if it resonates. So change is inevitable. People grow and evolve into different beings all the time. And while growth is good, it's always important to remember your core values and beliefs. Stay on the path you're destined to be on instead of coming under the influence of others. You're a unique individual with a definite purpose to fulfill on this earth, and you must see that. Dig deep into the soil and feel the security of the foundation you've built along the way. Even if you don't think so, your roots are there. Find them. Let them bolster you when all else fails. When you draw this card, dig deep. Never stop believing in yourself. Know that nothing is impossible if you put your mind to something. And remember, persistence and steadiness are the keys to finishing the race, no matter how long. Ooh, okay. So I do feel like you're being told to double down on something. But let's go ahead and pull some more cards around this. Okay, we have the Star. I'm hearing from Spirit that some of y'all might really like this card. Like, it might be a symbol to you. You get it a lot when you read for yourself if you're a reader. Interestingly enough, the Star to me is like, you pray and you pray and you pray for something. You hope for something. You wish for something. And to me, when I see the Star, it is an indication that your prayer has been heard. That like, the manifestation is coming, that you water what waters you as well. Let's keep building it out. We'll talk more about it. The Devil. Okay, that's interesting. Page of Crystals. The Knight of Crystals. Do you often succumb to your thought spirals, pile number 2? I say that because, especially with the devil is the card of temptation. And even your first card right here talked a little bit about temptation, as it refers to not being tempted by others off your path, basically. And I think this also could go in alignment with like playing the comparison game, like comparing yourself to others over and over and over again to the point that it like strips you of yourself. But interestingly enough, gosh, you know what else is so funny is we talked about like prayer with the star card and then the devil. It's like the angel and the devil, right? God and the devil. Not that you have to believe that. I actually like to think that my channel is pretty non-denominational, but, or is that even the right word I want? We're non-religious here. But I do feel like, there's a lot of symbolism in that story. Whenever I talk about like God and the devil, it's often a very like symbolism based thing. I feel like there is this like, oh gosh, I hesitate to say it because I feel like it sounds so corny, but it's like the two wolves that live inside you, right? And the one that wins is the one that you feed. So if you feed the temptation, if you feed the negative thought spirals, if you feed the things that you don't want, it makes you feel trapped and lesser than, and you spend so much time there. Where if you feed the positive intentions, if you water the things that water you back, if you allow yourself to expand, it's like you're going to kind of get whichever you pour into. But Page of Crystals, Knight of Crystals, the reason I said do you spiral is I really saw this like not only a spiral in my mind's eye, but I saw this like advancement into that. It's like it starts out as a small thought that you could probably contain if you tried, but then anxiety and like thought spiraling, it kind of pulls things into it if we allow it. And I know that me saying that might offend some people that are not ready to hear it, that I'm not saying that you're the cause or that it's your fault or that you deserve thought spirals. But, and I know I myself am a spiraler. Okay. I myself suffer with anxiety tremendously. I'm not talking about this like I don't get it, but I know that the times when I am able to get myself to step outside of that and try something else, try something that, try a nervous system reset, try EFT tapping, try meditation, try journaling, try getting up and moving my body, try phoning a friend. The times that I actually do something that would help me instead of just allowing myself to sit there and spiral and things to get more and more and more out of control in my head, like there's like a rainstorm going on in there. The times that I actually try to step out of it, 9 times out of 10, I would say I'm pretty successful. And it's not to say that you're going to be there conquering every single day. Take it one day at a time. But I do feel like what happened, the phrase that's coming to mind is like, what happened to you is not your fault, but what you do with that information is your responsibility. And it's not to say that we don't deserve help or that we can't receive assistance through this. And please remember, I'm not a mental health professional. Like, please do not use my readings in place of that. But there is some responsibility that is yours to work through it. Even if what is happening is not your fault, if what you're struggling with is not your fault, there is some responsibility in there that you have to hold the mantle up, unfortunately. And that to me is like the harsh medicine of this reading is like, you can thought spiral, but you need to be taking a proactive role in helping yourself to move through the spiral instead of letting it overcome you. And I also say that because notice in the Page of Crystals, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's tornadoes behind her, but she doesn't really seem like she's running and screaming. She's kind of like holding her thoughts, holding herself, and just like holding still even though the storm is coming. And I feel like that's really the true medicine of this, is like when you feel that coming, right? It's really important to, and obviously this isn't going to work for everybody, so everybody needs something else, but for some of y'all, it's going to be about just allowing the thoughts to come, allowing them to pass, allowing yourself to be the conduit from which that energy passes through. And it gets easier and easier with time. Sounds terrifying in the beginning. If anything I'm saying is resonating, I want to say his name is like Barry McDougal or McDonald or something. He made the Fear, Panic, and Anxiety app. He also wrote a book that I think it's free on Kindle, that when I was going through like the worst mental health crisis of my life, it was his work that really helped me to come to a place of being able to at least function. And I would definitely encourage looking that up. It's like Fear, Panic, and Anxiety, or Dare. Dare. The app is called Dare. Dare. And then there's also, like I said, he wrote a book. But that's, to me, is what this is kind of reminding me of, is like allowing things to come and things to happen, and like getting yourself to feel safe enough to hold it is really what we come to. And I am not doing it justice in the, 15 minutes we're going to have together doing this reading, but there's so much more in that. Just know that you're not alone. I'm hearing that too. Know that you're not alone, and there is support, and there are ways of moving through the difficult energy. And like that time is coming. You're not always going to feel trapped. Okay. You have a more solid foundation than you think. We have the Five of Crystals. This card, every time this card comes out, it always makes people mad because I always say the thing. Four of Crystals as well, though. Okay. Probably going to ruffle some feathers in about 2 seconds. The Empress and the Two of Wands. Okay, but there is some good shit here too. So the thing that people never want to hear about the Five of Crystals is it's the victim mentality card. It's about staying stuck, staying down, deciding that you are the victim and never trying to dig yourself out. And the thing is, as I stated before, what happened to you is not your fault, but what you do with that information is your responsibility. And it does suck. It is unfair. Many of us, I think I could speak for myself, but like many of us come from like very traumatizing households, abusive households. And it sucks that there are so many things that could have been easier if we just had a better support system at home growing up and could have developed differently. Not your fault. Okay. Not my fault, not your fault, but my responsibility, your responsibility to do what you can with that information to heal so that you don't pass that on. I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody did. Five of Crystals, though, to me is the victim mentality card, in the sense that we try to throw blame on everybody else and everything else instead of taking responsibility for where we are right now. And harsh reality, harsh truth. But again, one more time for everybody in the back. What happened to you is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to work through. And Four of Crystals popping out tells me that you definitely need rest. So this is, to me, almost like I don't want to say like a demanded rest, a forced rest, but like that is ultimately going to help you heal, as well as getting true rest and not sitting and spiraling. That's not resting. Resting is spending time in nature, spending time with people that you love or animals that you love, spending time in places where you feel unconditional love. And I get it. Some of us don't have that, right? Some of us don't have people in our lives that we feel like we get that from. Have you ever let a mountain witness you? Have you ever let a rainstorm witness you? Have you ever let the grass witness you? I feel like sometimes nature is our first point of unconditional love that just gives abundantly without us needing to return something. Animals are often this for people too, that animals will give unconditionally. And sometimes people, that is like your first interaction with being unconditionally loved, is by an animal or even nature before it is a person. And I just want you to know, if this is you and I'm connecting with your energy, you are worthy of that unconditional love. There is nothing that you have done in this lifetime that negates you from having that and receiving that. And Four of Crystals popping out to me tells me that, like, in order to get that rest, you need to allow yourself to be in places that make you feel like you can be your softest self. So, like I said, with people, animals, nature, I would say connection is definitely part of it. But to give your mind a rest. You got a lot of crystal cards, which are the swords in this deck, which are very much about the mind and feeling like the mind is messy when we really want to have peace and calm and serenity and have strong roots. So that's the journey you're on right now, is like getting back to your roots, the things that you love, the things that you enjoy, but also building a firm, solid foundation of feeling your feet planted on the ground, feeling here in reality, feeling like you can really go at anything in life. Right now, you're building the foundation of that and reconnecting, because you've never actually lost it. Even at times where you felt like you have, it's always been available to you. You're just rebuilding the connection. Then I see the Two of Wands and the Empress. The Empress to me is like abundance. It's abundance. It's the harvest. It's the, the Empress is usually depicted by like a pregnant woman in traditional tarot with like a normal deck. And I always think about, the Empress has like, for some of y'all, if you desire pregnancy, it could be that. But I do feel like there's so much more to the Empress than that. It's about the metaphor of pregnancy, because rest assured, like, you can't like, eventually that big pregnant woman is going to have to give birth. Eventually you're going to have to go through them labor pains and them contractions, right? And whatever you're bringing into your life, like, know that what you're bringing in right now, like, it might take those labor pains, it might take the contractions, it might take the work, but ultimately it is for the best. It is for that cyclical nature that is within you. It is for getting to that point of celebrating the harvest, of celebrating the bounty, of celebrating the beautiful blessing of that birth, right? Of what you're building, which ultimately I think has more to do with like birthing yourself. And Two of Wands, it's all about your expansion. So you're also being expanded on at this time. Now, let's go ahead and get a few extra messages from Spirit. Just tell us some good news, Spirit. We want to hear some good news. Some exciting things coming to pile number 2. Stillness, lack of movement. Honestly, I think if you feel called to the mountains and you have them available to you, go. Go to the mountains, or, obviously safely, go safely. But I feel like there's something about finding stillness in nature that I think would really be beneficial to you. And then we have caution, keep your guard up. So that's interesting. It's also keep your guard up. Why keep your guard up? I want to pull one more card for you, pile number 2, because why keep your guard up? Why? 6 of Stars. Okay. I think this has more to do with people, in terms of you want people in your life where there's an equal exchange of energy. And I think you are used to over giving because you feel like you have to in order to keep people around you. But what if you just didn't? What if you didn't over give and you just let whatever's going to happen? I promise you it'll lead you to the right person with the right boundaries. Trust me on that. There is one thing there is not a lack of on this planet is people. Because the Six of Stars is normally about an equal exchange of energy, something that's really in balance. But if you're being told to be cautious, it's like pay attention to people that don't pour back into you, but expect all of your energy to be poured into them. Pay attention to that. Excuse me. I think there's something important to note about that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's reading. If you would like more from me, I do have my Patreon available to you where I put out exclusive pick-a-cards, astrology content, and personal life content like vlogs and sit-down chit-chats. Would love to have you over there. It really does support me as a small creator. I also have my podcast, The Cozy Babes Club, available to you here on YouTube as well as anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Currently, we're updating semi-weekly, I would say. I'm really proud of the content that we've been putting out lately. We've gotten into fall content. It's a good time. So I feel like if you like my tarot card readings, you probably will like my podcast. I feel like it's a very similar vibe of like talking about really important things. So definitely check that out. The link for that will be down below. And of course, you can follow me anywhere around the web. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And if you would like to get a private reading from me, go ahead and head to my website, KhloeTaylor.com, for private readings, both astrology and tarot readings. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. Before we get into your reading, please allow me a brief moment to talk about today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Tarot Stack. If you're unfamiliar with Tarot Stack, they are an online website that deals in getting tarot decks from independent artists into your hands. So basically, if you've been looking for an indie deck or something you've never seen before, something a little bit more rare, I believe that Tarot Stack has something for everyone. So definitely give them a look at. The link is going to be down below for you. All of the cards that we use today are actually from Tarot Stack, so I will link every deck as well down below for you in the order that they appear. And I love them truly. Before I ever worked with them on my channel, they've been a long time sponsor, but even before working with them, I myself purchased decks from them, and much of my collection is from them. The thing that I will say is you will never find more unique decks anywhere else, and the cardstock and imagery are always really high quality. Like, there are decks that I have used on the daily that are not falling apart. So if you want something durable, something amazing, something rare, definitely give them a look at. So that's tarotstack.com. Again, a link for that down below is going to be in the description box. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack. All right, pile number 3, you got the Sunflower card. And this card basically tells us that we can rise above it all. No matter how toxic your foundation is, you're capable of transforming something terrible into something beautiful. If you're coming out of a difficult period in your life, know that you have survived this crisis and you're on your way towards earned peace. If you're in conflict with someone, this card would advise you to take the higher ground and react with kindness. Alternatively, draw inspiration from the Sunflower. If where you're standing right now isn't serving you best, pivot. Give yourself a better vantage point. Find a grounding point and use it as an anchor within which to root your inspiration. The sun is a blessing and a gift. Orient yourself with it and always move in the direction that makes the most sense. You have to let in the light if you want to enjoy its warmth. Be sure to turn yourself toward these blessings when you begin to notice them peeking their heads in. Accept them and understand that the universe is giving you a gift. You've created the groundwork for future prosperity. Those efforts are about to bear fruit. Even if it feels like things have just been grinding to a halt lately, remember that there is always a way for success and happiness if you look for it. So that was from the book for this deck. That basically would tell you if you feel like you chose the right reading. If you feel like that's where your life has been, this is going to be your reading. We're going to go ahead and get the Dreamy Moons Tarot out and expand upon this. So I knew the Sunflower card probably would lend a more positive reading overall, as sunflowers are known in the spiritual realm as like a positive omen. They tend to face the sun, kind of like that card says. They overcome blockages. It's really that to me. I knew that this reading was probably going to be more overtly like that. But we have first and foremost the Chariot. Okay. Love that. These cards have gold foiling too, so I'm going to kind of rotate them to show them to you. I'm going to lay some cards down and then we'll talk about them. So the Chariot, first and foremost, we have the Hierophant, or the Hierophant, however you choose to pronounce that. We have the Queen of Stars. Oh my goodness. I laugh because it just like, can it get any better? My gosh. And then the Eight of Crystals, of course. Of course. Of course. Okay. Here's the thing. All of this overtly very positive. So the Chariot tells me that currently you are on the right path forward. The Chariot is all about following your destiny, following what fills you up, following what feels in alignment for you, integrating the light and dark aspects of yourself, especially because we have the dark horse and then like the fire horse down here, which talks about both sides of you, maybe even the masculine and feminine side of you, merging together to go on this journey, right? That is the vibe that we're getting. The Hierophant tells me that, honestly, this card and me have beef, okay? Me and the Hierophant have beef because, first of all, it's Taurus's card, and I feel like who decided that? Who decided that this should be Taurus's card? You did all Taurus's dirty by doing that. But the Hierophant is also about like mentorship. It can be about like tradition and structure. And in this case, I actually think that it's like more of a positive notion. It's not necessarily about tradition here. It's about how you are going to build structure to bridge the gap towards your like big bright idea. Okay. So what kind of structure do you need in your day-to-day life right now in terms of like, should you be having like, you know, even I feel like even on like a foundational level, okay, we talk about structuring your life. To me, this is going to be very foundational. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you moving your body? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting sunlight? You are a complicated houseplant with emotions. And are you taking care of yourself like a sunflower? Are you doing things that you enjoy that also make you happy along the journey? And I know it can feel like a lot, right? It can feel like a lot where we go, oh my gosh, being human is so damn exhausting, right? There's all this crap we have to do just so that our silly little brains can feel good and our body can feel good. But instead of looking at it as this like rigid structural thing, I would encourage you to turn this into self-devotion. How can you be more devoted to yourself in this process of breaking new ground for yourself? How can you show deep devotion towards yourself in creating structure? Then we have the Queen of Stars, which tells me that your efforts will be successful. If that's something that you just needed to hear today, I feel like the Queen of Stars is all about creating balance in home and career life. She's definitely somebody who brings in financial wealth for her family, but also nurtures the home. And I like a Queen of Stars. It's basically the Queen of Pentacles. But then I said, of course, when I pulled that Eight of Crystals, because there is definitely something here where you feel like you're not quite worthy for the opportunities that are being presented to you. Because the Eight of Crystals is all about succumbing to the mind and succumbing to limiting beliefs that just frankly aren't true. And something I would really encourage you to do, I love giving practical information in my readings. Let me see if I have a sticky note. Apologies. I just need paper. Okay. Sorry, I was kind of leaned away for a second, but allow me to get some paper out and just... So let's say that you have a limiting belief, okay? You have a limiting belief about something. Get out a piece of paper. Like, do it right now. Pause the video. Get out a piece of paper. I want you to draw a circle and then draw some lines like this. I actually saw this on TikTok or Instagram, and I do something very similar without the diagram, and I thought the diagram was so good that I was like, wow, let me do this. So let's say, let me flip to the other end of this pen. Let's say that your limiting belief that you're carrying, and you can do this as many times as you need to, okay? Let's say that your limiting belief is, I can't make a living doing what I love. Okay. That's the limiting belief. I can't make a living doing what I love. Now, I want you to ask yourself, and you can use like prompts online for this if you're having trouble, but like, first of all, is there anybody in your life or anybody that you follow that makes a living doing what they love? For myself, let's say that I took this limiting belief on. The first person that comes to mind for me is the Gem Goddess here on YouTube. The Gem Goddess makes a living doing this. Like, because obviously, like, if I were looking at my own life, she reads tarot cards online. She's talked a lot about like manifesting and getting her dream home and her dream income and like living a life that she loves. There are a lot of people I could put on this list. She was just the first person that came to mind. So, okay, there's one person that proves it to me. Is there another person? I would put, Mia Magic is it's just with a K. Mia Magic is somebody else that makes a living. And I'm doing this fast, so my handwriting looks atrocious. A living doing what she loves. Okay. Are there any other examples of people that do this? Or are there other examples of where this is true? What people that are I feel like for me, giving myself people examples is the most helpful because I have such an odd career. I'm going to put the mother herself, Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas has stayed on top and has changed and pivoted numerous times. Okay. She has changed and pivoted and done so many things. Like, a girl has written books. A girl has, she has done singing. She has done albums. She has done books. She has done YouTube content creation. She has done numerous podcasts. She has she has done so much in her career and has pivoted constantly, right? And still gets to do something that she really loves while making really good money doing it. Like, honestly, I'm pretty sure her man makes good money too, but like, I don't know her for sure. I know that she has bought like really nice homes under the income that she has made from doing this kind of stuff, doing things that she loves for a living. So just pointing that out, that like another person, right? But even outside of people, is there anything else that we could put under this that would shift the belief and allow us to kind of undo that, right? What goes against, what proof can you give to yourself that this belief is not true? So doing like, gosh, for myself, I've done it. I've done it before. Currently in my own life, I might not be making what I would consider a living off of what I do, but I've done it before. I have made a livable wage off of doing something I love multiple times in my life. So I've done it before and I can do it again. Obviously, that's very specific to me, but you get what I'm saying, right? So you would fill all of these out, and maybe as you think of more, you'll think of other things you want to include, so you can just add more slices. And the idea is that you're breaking down this limiting belief to such a point that you go, actually, it's kind of silly that I would believe this. It's kind of silly that I would convince myself that I can't do this thing. And you can also go down the whole road of like, what separates me from somebody else that is doing this successfully, right? No matter what it is, obviously different questions for different limiting beliefs, but it's all about showing your mind that it is safe to believe on the contrary. It is safe for you to get to a place of holding a different belief. And obviously there's like therapeutic work you could do. There's somatic work you could do around this. It can expand so much. And this is actually why I designed my Vision Board to Destiny course, as well as my meditation and workbook on meeting your authentic self. They should be available by the time this goes out, but my website has been going through a little bit of an overhaul and I'm changing some stuff up, but This is why I've designed things like that in the past, because I feel like there is work like this that can be done that would actually support you. And I always want to like give those tools. Anyways, my point is that you don't have to just believe this. You don't have to sit and believe all of the reasons why something can't work. You can actually transform and alchemize those beliefs. And when people say do the work, that's what they're talking about. That is doing the work of alchemizing a belief that you don't want to carry anymore, that hasn't supported you. And you have to show your mind and your body and your nervous system that it is safe to believe something else. Because the reality of the situation is the only reason you hold these limiting beliefs is because at one time that has maybe kept you safe and you've continued to repeat it out of safety, because that's all we're looking for in life. Truly, everybody is looking for nervous system regulation. No matter what your issue is in life, whether you struggle with addiction, you're just looking for regulation. Struggle in relationships, you're just looking for somebody to help co-regulate you. Not always. Sometimes relationships can struggle for other reasons, but that's what I'm getting at, is all we're looking for is nervous system regulation. And when we have that with our desires and with our reality, when we get regulated before the thing comes in, that's when it is able to come in with such ease. So anyways, I digress. Let's keep going with some more cards. Oh, okay. We've got the 9 of Stars. I love to see it. Beautiful card. And then I'm going to go ahead and knock on this, split the deck. And the Fool. Okay. Oh my goodness. The 9 of Stars and the Fool. Both of these cards really say to me that you are... Well, I mean, the 9 of Stars is about like gaining more money than you originally expected, or more material wealth than you originally expected. And the Fool is all about trying something new that you've never tried before, and like basically jumping and letting the universe catch you. We also have the Self card, which this one looks filthy, but that's because I've shuffled it a bunch. And I usually have like oils and like stuff on my hands when I read. So just probably some like witchy oils on there. But the Self card is actually specific to this deck in that it's all about self-reflection. And I think that's probably why I brought that example out for you, is because you need to take some time to self-reflect. Like, stop doom scrolling, take some time with a piece of paper and actually self-reflect on why you believe the things that you believe. It's even better if you can deconstruct where that belief might have come from and actually take the time to deconstruct how it is not true. Because when you do the inner work, the outer will like basically change. Then we also have the Strength card for you. So I don't feel like this is going to be easy work necessarily that you're going to have to embark on to get to this place, but you are capable. And I think you just need to be told that you are capable, you are able. And Strength, I want you to notice, we don't look at like a warrior when we see the Strength card. It's literally somebody sitting with their hands at the mouth of a lion. And that's because we are doing this deep inner primal emotional work, right? We are working with the emotion. We're not out there fighting on the ground, feet on the ground, running guns blazing. We are doing this like deep internal emotional work that would actually set us free, would give us the feeling of more freedom, which in turn would create more freedom. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull a few more cards here, and we're just going to see what Spirit has for you. Let's see what is coming. What is coming for pile 3? We have Speak Up, use your voice to express yourself. So I do feel like in the near future, if not right now, you are going to be using your voice in a new way. So this could be through writing, through actually speaking, through podcasting, through making content of some kind, maybe using your voice at work, right? This could be film acting, voice recording, narration. In some way, you're going to be using your voice, and you're meant to express yourself and your deepest passion. If you've been waiting for the call, consider this it. Then we have Heart, emotions and intuition. So I do think you are coming to a time in your life where you can no longer ignore emotional work that needs to be done. It's getting so loud that it's sprouting up other issues in your life. So it's time to start releasing that. I really hope that that example I gave you, I don't do that in every reading. That's actually pretty rare for me to pull something out like that. But I really felt inspired to counsel you with that. So I hope that you'll take that in, because I really feel like the next two major points that Spirit wanted you to pay attention to is how are you communicating with others and yourself about yourself, and using your heart to feel through things emotionally and using your intuition instead of just always logicking everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's reading. If you would like more from me, I do have my Patreon available to you, where I put out exclusive pick-a-cards, astrology content, and personal life content like vlogs and sit-down chit-chats. Would love to have you over there. It really does support me as a small creator. I also have my podcast, The Cozy Babes Club, available to you here on YouTube, as well as anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Currently, we're updating semi-weekly, I would say. I'm really proud of the content that we've been putting out lately. We've gotten into fall content. It's a good time. So I feel like if you like my tarot card readings, you probably will like my podcast. I feel like it's a very similar vibe of like talking about really important things. So definitely check that out. The link for that will be down below. And of course, you can follow me anywhere around the web. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And if you would like to get a private reading from me, go ahead and head to my website, KhloeTaylor.com, for private readings, both astrology and tarot readings. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. Before we get into your reading, please allow me a brief moment to talk about today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Tarot Stack. If you're unfamiliar with Tarot Stack, they are an online website that deals in getting tarot decks from independent artists into your hands. So basically, if you've been looking for an indie deck or something you've never seen before, something a little bit more rare, I believe that Tarot Stack has something for everyone. So definitely give them a look at. The link is going to be down below for you. All of the cards that we use today are actually from Tarot Stack, so I will link every deck as well down below for you in the order that they appear. And I love them truly. Before I ever worked with them on my channel, they've been a long time sponsor, but even before working with them, I myself purchased decks from them, and much of my collection is from them. The thing that I will say is you will never find more unique decks anywhere else, and the cardstock and imagery are always really high quality. Like, there are decks that I have used on the daily that are not falling apart. So if you want something durable, something amazing, something rare, definitely give them a look at. So that's tarotstack.com. Again, a link for that down below is going to be in the description box. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack. All right, pile number 4. If you chose the Bleeding Heart, this is going to be your reading. So with the Bleeding Heart, this card urges you to stay the course. It's easy to be disheartened when it doesn't feel like things are working out. Hope for the future, though it is a powerful thing, and hard work and passion always pay off, even if it takes some time to see it yourself. You must remain steadfast in your beliefs and goals, even if the ones around you say otherwise. Treat this card as your biggest cheerleader in achieving your goals. The finish line is close by. You just need to pull over the last hill to see it. Even if it takes a few more attempts, time and energy, don't give up on yourself. Things can take longer than we anticipate, but don't give up on your dreams. Even though the labor may be intense, the card reminds us that only through continual effort and persistence will be able to fulfill your dreams. The prince in the story had a bittersweet ending, and we'd all do well to forget it. You may have to sacrifice quite a bit to achieve success. It's up to you to decide if the ends justify the means, though. Oh, there's like a little story up here that I didn't read about, like, the prince having this like negative story. But my point is, I read that out of the book just to kind of give you a taste of what your reading will be around. So this is about, while things have been difficult, you must stay the course. But as stated, you're the one that has to decide if the means are justified. Like, if things are not justified and it's not working out, maybe it is time for a pivot. But let's go ahead and see what the Dreamy Moons Tarot has to say about this. So we have the Page of Stars. Okay. Something feels new. We have the Ace of Wands. Very new. 5 of Cups. And the 5 of Stars. Ooh. Okay. I can tell that you are very unhappy. You chose the bleeding heart because that's how you feel right now. You feel like your heart is bleeding out. Not medically, of course, like metaphorically, but I say that because it's like you started something with a lot of passion and a lot of good intention, and you're just not reaping the rewards by this time that you'd hoped that you would be. The 5 of Cups tells me that you're paying a lot of attention to what you don't have and way less of what you do. The 5 of Stars tells me that there is such a lack of belief in yourself. And this is ultimately, I think, where you need to make a choice of, is what you're doing good? Like, I'm really feeling called to share a personal story with you, pile number 4. I need y'all to know that my readings are so special and I'm different than other tarot card readers because I believe in the concept of story healing, where it is through, like, we've done this for literally centuries, where people share stories, and it is within those stories that not only do we heal the storyteller, but we heal people around us with those stories, whether they are fictional or truth. Today, I'm going to hit you with the truth, but I feel really called to share this because I think that you are somebody, and if this doesn't, what I'm about to say, if this doesn't fit you, go and choose a different pile. It's not your pile. You're somebody that has had a spark of a creative idea. And maybe you're somebody that like wants to leave a 9-to-5, wants to use your creative passions as your like means for income. You want to try something else. You don't want to go back to the grind of the 9-to-5. And it's really important to you, like you and your livelihood are counting on this thing working out that you've started, no matter what it is, whether it's podcast, a YouTube channel, a creative endeavor, a product that you sell, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You've had a great idea. You decided to actually do something with it. It left the idea stage. Like, I need you to know, if this is you and this is resonating with you, the fact that you even got out of the idea stage is huge. Do you know how many people let ideas just stay up in their mind that they do nothing with? Like, that is a major milestone, and you should celebrate every single step of the journey, including that one. If you haven't done that, go back and like pop a little champagne, pop a little poppy, and tell yourself like, it's a big deal that I left the idea stage and actually did something and actually tried something. Because most people do that and are not celebrated for it. Not me. Anytime I see somebody in my personal life try some new shit that is different and takes them into a new way of, like, especially women, obviously men too, but especially women, I feel like women are celebrated for getting married. We have bridal showers, for having babies. We do baby showers, engagement parties. You know, we celebrate women at all of these junctures, but we don't celebrate women when they start new businesses or new adventures. We don't celebrate women for launching something new. And like, celebrate yourself. Like I said, in my life, I will never let a woman go unseen in that way, because I know what it feels like to not have a baby and instead make my creativity my baby, and never really feel supported or seen, especially by family, in that. And I just need you to know that, like, if this is you and this is hitting, I see you and I celebrate you. I don't care what it is that you're making. Like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I see you and I celebrate you. And like, tell me about it in the comments so that I can like comment a champagne glass back at you. Celebrate. But my point to this is that you started something new. There is some good ideas behind it. And you're trying, right? But 5 of Cups, 5 of Stars, it's like we're way too in our emotions and feelings about it. So the story I want to share with you is that in my own life, I really deeply understand these feelings. And there have been times in my life where I have had no money, I've been unemployed, and I have just decided to create something. And doing things online, no matter what you're doing, the hard medicine that I think nobody is prepared for. And I wish more people talked about it, because they don't. A lot of people take advice from these content creators that had one viral moment that set their career up. And though I have had that happen to me, it didn't come on my first post. And you need to know that it takes time. My first YouTube channel, which was actually it was not my first, but my first successful YouTube channel was known as Sims 3 Copper Fox. That was and then it evolved into, I renamed myself to Coffee, Koffee. It still stands today. If you search Coffee spelled with a K, Sims 4, that channel will come up. It still exists. I don't touch it. I don't put anything on it anymore, but like I had a really like massive gaming career at one time in my life. And when I was doing this, I need you to understand that I didn't make money from that career venture, not good money, until probably about 3 years into my career. Like it took 3 years. Like I made some money, don't get me wrong, but it took 3 solid years to see a good turnaround for myself. And same with tarot card reading. I started reading tarot and doing astrology and spirituality. I want to say I launched the channel in like 2017. I think it was actually before that. But I didn't see any really big boom until about 2020. So it took 3 years of consistency. And I think a lot of people in the creative niche don't know that. Some people, it does happen overnight, but for most people, you have to know that you need to be prepared even when it doesn't work out, even when it feels like nobody's watching, even when it feels like everybody is advancing and you're not advancing. You have to have the attitude of belief in yourself so much that it doesn't matter if nobody shows up for 3 years. You are so dedicated and in love with this project that it would not matter. And that's the kind of energy I feel like you really have to persevere with, especially in the early stages when it feels like you're not getting a lot of traction. And I would argue that in today's landscape, it is even harder to break into social media than it was before. And that's because social media is no longer social, it's viral media. Like, I hate to say it, I hate to like put a negative twist on it, but like viral media is what sells more now. It's like you got to have a hook and you got to loop people in, and like it's not the way that it used to be. And I do think it is harder to be seen now because of that. Short form content has really taken over, and it's harder to be seen for long form things. But I also know that sometimes that one short form video is all you need. You know, 3 years, 6 months, whatever, in that one short form thing that you made could be the thing that pushes all the sales towards you. So you need to know that, like, yeah, right now the landscape might suck. You're really in your feelings. You're not appreciating the small things that have happened. And you're feeling like, why did I even start this to begin with? But the thing is, when you ask yourself who you want to be 3 years from now, is it somebody that does this thing that you're trying to do? And if the answer is no, it probably is time to cut your losses and put it down. But if your answer is yes, and you see yourself really thriving and continuing to do this, fantastic. Keep going. Keep doing it. Like, don't quit your daydream because you're not getting the traction that you thought you would have 3 months in. Like, it takes time sometimes to build that. And I would also argue that it's better. It is better to not go viral in today's world, because when you go viral, if you don't have a catalog of stuff sitting on your account for people to go and look at, you have one viral moment and everybody goes away. Like, it's actually better to not go viral from the jump and have time to work on your creations, to work on your sound, how you want to appear, how you want your aesthetic to look, how you want, like, let yourself have your messy beginning with things not looking so good and polished. Let yourself be messy and unseen by a lot of people until you get your voice and your polish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I might be speaking Greek to some people, but my point is that, like, these things take time. It's better if it doesn't happen overnight, and just know that you're playing the long game. And when you see people in your reality that have what it is that you desire, it's not always easy, but you can always choose in the moment to silently celebrate that person. Or if you know them, celebrate them loudly. Like, whenever, I think for me, let me give you an example of what I mean. I would really like to be a homeowner, and not like house poor, where you like own a home and then you have no other money. Like, I would really love to own a home. And I think it's so sad that like this is my biggest dream, because like what in the heliante of capitalist hellscape are we living in that I can't even afford to buy a house as a millennial? That's crazy to me. It is like my biggest dream to own a home, and not like a starter home. I'm not buying a home until I can afford the one that I want. Like, it doesn't need to be a mansion, but I would like that influencer kitchen. That's like my ultimate dream, is to have an open concept home, something built in the 2020s, like in 2020 and beyond, something that looks like model home. Like, that is my dream, is to have a really nice, like relatively brand new home. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there. My taste will probably change before I get there. But my point to saying that is that ultimately is my dream. And when I see other people on social media filming content in their beautiful homes, like, it's not even a thought in their mind. Like, that's just where they live, you know? To me, that would be everything. And there have been times where I'm like, I have to close social media today because I am like struggling with, why don't I have this thing? Why is that? Why not me? When is it going to be my turn? And then there are days where I go, wow, that person has that. That means I can have it too. And if that's the energy you want to be in, is, wow, this person has all of that. They are proving to me that I can have that in my reality too. So if you can't feel that way about other people that are maybe getting their bag and running big businesses or whatever it is that you're doing, take a break from social media. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it will talk you out of even trying. So that's what I'm saying. Anyways, I digress. Let us keep going. Knight of Crystals. Okay. Six of Cups. Okay, Knight of Crystals. This to me is like, you are ready to really start pushing yourself forward and start doing more and saying more. And this is what I tell like every person I know that wants to make content is, and I say content, but it could be anything. You could be like selling a physical item too. But there is somebody out there right now that is making more money, that is way less qualified and way less talented than you are. And it is the sad truth. Okay. It is the sad truth. And the thing is, the only difference between somebody who is successful in doing what you want to do and not successful, and I promise you, this is the truth, and I have proven it time and time again. It is, are you ready? It is their audacity. That's it. That is the only missing component between successful creators and non-successful creators. It's not because they have all this fancy camera shit. It's not because they had managers. It's not because they have somebody writing their scripts. It's not because they have a whole team behind them. Eventually you can build those things. But even in having small beginnings, if you have the audacity to just go for it, do you know how many people sit on their hands and don't do anything with their creative ideas? The people that have audacity are the people that will be successful. And that's it. That's the only thing. So if you can get yourself to a point of just having the audacity to just post, to just share, to just do what you're going to do and not think about how people are going to react to it, you have already won. You have already won, and you are well on your way to success. I promise you. I have been making content, creating things online for 15 years. That is the only difference between people who are successful and people who are not successful. It is their level of audacity. And sometimes we don't always want people to have all that audacity, because sometimes it's like the worst people out there spreading terrible messages. But it's the audacity. Have the audacity to post. Have the audacity. You're not bugging people just because you are posting about the thing you're passionate about. Get that idea out of your head. Have the audacity. And let's go ahead and get a few more cards from Spirit about what is coming your way. I hope this reading really has like motivated you to keep going. The Sun, conscious masculine life force. Yes, baby. Yes. Okay. And then we have you are safe. The universe has your back. So, number one, things are going to go better than you even originally anticipated. So, prepare for that with the sun card. You are feeling motivated. Your energy is coming back. I feel like after this reading, if you feel inspired, like go make something right now. And like also, please leave a comment so I can like champagne toast you. I'll send you the champagne emoji. And you are safe. The universe has your back. You need to just hear that the universe has your back. You are okay. You will be okay. This is okay for you to go out on a limb and do this thing. And if you ever need a reminder, come back and listen to this reading when you need to be talked into it again. Okay? I will always be here to support you. And I feel like also with the Six of Cups, this is about being in the right rooms with the right people and having the right support. So make sure you're sticking around people like that. People that don't support what you're doing, just stop talking to them about it. You don't need their approval. I had to learn that really early on in my career. Oh my gosh. If I had one more thing, if I had listened to the first person that I was so excited to tell about what I was doing, I never would have started creating content. I've told this story before, but somebody just maybe needs to hear it. And my mother has since apologized to me about this. So like, it's not me holding this over her, but it is a part of my story. I was in college going to school for culinary. Actually, I was in culinary school and I really wanted to be a YouTuber. I wanted to like work in film, not like big Hollywood film. I wanted to work literally YouTube. YouTube was my dream. Okay. I wanted to work on YouTube and I already had a channel that like previously I had been doing little vlogs and stuff that doesn't exist anymore. It got deleted because of reasons. We'll talk about that another time. I've talked about it before, but I remember telling my mom, who at the time I was very close to, that I wanted to switch my major to film. I wanted to work with cameras. I wanted to learn this stuff. I didn't tell her so I could be a YouTuber, but that was my intention. And she told me that I wasn't as creative as my sister, that she couldn't see me in that kind of creative field. And she also said something really, really weird, which like narcissistic tendencies, that she wouldn't be able to brag to her friends or her coworkers about me if I changed my major, which like, what a whack thing to say to your child. She was clearly in the wrong there. It was just a very weird, at the time I was young and I didn't have the knowledge that I have now of depth psychology to pick that situation apart. But I was devastated. It was like I was telling my best friend my biggest dream, and to have her not support me and then tell me that I wasn't as artistic as my sibling, to pit me against my own sibling, and then to also shut my dream down and to also tell me that it was about her bragging rights. Like, how entitled, right? And I remember getting off the phone with her in tears. I did not cry in front of her. And I sat down and God, I wish I still had the footage, but I don't. I sat down in front of my little Canon PowerShot because that's what I had. My husband bought it for me for my birthday that year. I sat down in front of my little Canon PowerShot and I shot a video of myself, just for myself, that was talking to me about like, you're going to go for it, Kloee. Like, forget what your mom says. You're going to go for it and you're going to prove her wrong. And it was like, honestly, I've thanked her for this moment in my life too, because it was the gas that I needed. It was the fuel and the gas that I needed to start doing things and like start making things. And I didn't become successful on YouTube until years after that, but it gave me the gumption to like try and really apply myself. And I even told myself in that moment, you're going to learn everything you can learn. You are going to take this so seriously and you will show her. And I did numerous times, actually, a couple times over. So like, that's when you don't have people around you that support you. You don't have to tell them about your dreams. You can also use that for fuel. But I really get the sense that when you're in this tender stage, you need to be around people that support your dreams and your vision for the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's reading. If you would like more from me, I do have my Patreon available to you, where I put out exclusive pick-a-cards, astrology content, and personal life content like vlogs and sit-down chit-chats. Would love to have you over there. It really does support me as a small creator. I also have my podcast, The Cozy Babes Club, available to you here on YouTube, as well as anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Currently, we're a updating semi-weekly, I would say. I'm really proud of the content that we've been putting out lately. We've gotten into fall content. It's a good time. So I feel like if you like my tarot card readings, you probably will like my podcast. I feel like it's a very similar vibe of like talking about really important things. So definitely check that out. The link for that will be down below. And of course, you can follow me anywhere around the web. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And if you would like to get a private reading from me, go ahead and head to my website, KhloeTaylor.com, for private readings, both astrology and tarot readings. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same.